I was just now watching a video from Dr. King where he talks about shit life syndrome. And man, should I say that's a very, very good video. I love Healthy Gamer GG. It's been a life changer for me. But anyways, and he talks about the concept of some people have a certain perspective of life based on personal experience that leads them to having what is called a shit life syndrome, which is when your life is so full of problems and you have so many mental illnesses stacked, on top of each other, and that the person just seemingly has no escape, and it's what we call a shit life. So you have, for example, and this is very common, people with no friends, no social life, they have no self-esteem, they have no life experience, they have trauma, they have PTSD, they have depression, they have anxiety, and all of those things together. And from a medical perspective, it's, oh, this person is just unlucky. But if you really think about it, no, it's just the way that they were brought up. They have so many problems that, their brain literally adapts to that and creates a very just sad way of living. And it's very interesting because he talks about how our upbringing is, how our upbringing shapes our brain. And man, is that such a very powerful thing. Now, I identify with this a lot. So, as a bit of a context, I am a very young person. I'm 23, and throughout most of my life, especially my teenage years, I had multiple problems, self-esteem issues during my mid-teens to late teens. I've had depression through the first years of my adult life, around 18 and 19. I've had just overall a bunch of shit going on. And most of it, when I sit down and introspect, comes from the way that I was raised as a kid. So, as an example, I've always been extremely unconfident in my own ability to solve problems. So this is something that I've been working on lately, where I just see my life as a series of circumstances, most of which are just outside of my control. And whenever I'm faced with a challenge or whenever I'm faced with a problem, my first instinct is always to sort of give up. Like, oh, I can't do anything. And I think to myself where that came from, and it definitely came from my childhood, because personally I grew up in a very poor household where I would have, for example, the basics, which is I'm very thankful for. So I would have a roof, I would have food, but I wouldn't have much else other than that. And, if my friends had a cool toy or a cool video game or a console or something like that, I would ask my parents to have it, and they would always tell me that we can't have it because we don't have money. Or when when your friends buy something new and you don't have the money to pay to buy it for yourself, when there's like a school tour, somewhere cool, and they ask, like they sell the ticket and you can't afford the ticket, like those things grew up with me. much more than I wish had. And what happens is, you just become extremely conditioned to seeing life this way. Whenever a problem happens, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just, like GG, game over, you know? And that's very unfortunate. Now, I am changing a lot in that regard now as an adult, because right now I am working, I am making money, I can change. For example, if I want to buy something, I, of course, doing proper, like, finances, because I don't like spending too much money at once, I can just go and buy it. If I want a console, I can buy a console. If I want clothes, I can buy clothes. Hell, I've even been helping my family. If back in the day I would ask my parents for something and they wouldn't give it to me because we couldn't afford it, now I'm the one buying things to my parents. Like, that is character development. So it is really interesting how our brains are against us all the time when we want to grow in life, and our brains tell us that it's impossible, that it's too late, or we're too poor, or we're too, like, insert obstacle. That's really awful. And I'm really glad that the last couple of days, I've been having this breakthrough where I am able to simply do things, like, oh, I'm afraid it won't work, whatever, let's do it anyway. Let's try. That is really cool. So if you're going through a similar phase through your life, or if you are a person yourself who identifies with, shit life syndrome, perhaps you yourself have, been conditioned into thinking that you just can't solve your problems, then I really would like to invite you to simply allow yourself to change. Not even change, but like allow yourself to try out things without any expectations. Just, oh, so this is unsolvable. Okay, so let me try this. Simply do it. Like, whenever your problems are, whenever your circumstances are, if you're suffering, if you're feeling as if there's nothing you can do, simply allowing yourself to try is already a big step. And yeah, like, I think that's going to be it for this little ramble section. Let's be, let's be optimistic, and let's be bright, and we can fix our lives and have a better future. No matter what circumstances are stacked against us, we can always change it. And I'd like to just close it off with one good metaphor I always think about. So there's this idea of karma in Buddhism and also Hinduism. And I'm not sure which one of those this idea is more appropriate, but essentially, if you think of karma as your actions, so everything you do is an action, and that has external factors and internal factors. And we are only in control of the internal stuff. We're only in control of our actions, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we can't change, but there are stuff that we can. And to think about karma as everything that you do has a consequence. So you do one action, and the action has a consequence. So think of it like this. Imagine you're planting a tree, right? So if I ask you, hey, plant a tree, what do? You go, you take a seed, you plant the seed on the earth, you water it, and you just wait. And every day you go, you water the earth until one day the seed sprouts, and there is like a little stem coming out, and you keep watering it, you keep, giving nutrients, doing everything. And in 2 years, the little stem becomes a young tree. And after 10 years, it's a big tree. So the question is, what made the tree grow? Because if you think about it, you don't control the tree. You don't get to choose how many leaves the tree is going to have. You don't get to choose what the design of the branches is going to be like. You don't get to choose anything. You don't even get to choose the species. Now, sure, you plant, say, a peach tree, you're going to have a peach tree. If you plant a lime tree, you're going to have a lime tree. But you can't plant a lime tree and want it to be a peach tree, So you're not in control. However, if you don't plant the tree, then you will know for a fact that the tree won't grow. There are so many things that can go wrong. Like you can plant the tree and the tree just die anyway. They can get sick and die, or can get burned and die. So many things can happen. But if you don't plant it, then you will know for sure it won't grow. So that's the thing in life. Yes, there are many things that we can't control, and there might be things we can't change. But if we don't do anything, then we know for a fact that our lives will always be the same. So that is the message, really, I wanted to share. If anyone's watching this, the message is life has many surprises, and definitely keep trying. You might feel as if things are just against you, and they might be. That's fair. But allow yourself to grow and allow yourself to change, at the very least, your perspective. Who knows what might come out of it. So, yeah, that's it. See you another time.